had a phone call from a colleague in Deepore, Department of Parks and Wildlife, and they were looking for somewhere to translocate Phascogales from the wild, red-tailed Phascogales from the wild to another wild site. And because Kojunup's in their old habitat range, although there weren't any Phascogales here before we put them here, they were really interested in this reserve. It had Wandoo, it had sheoak, it had everything they needed, plus Bush Heritage has been doing predator control on here for about 18 years, and they were really keen that we would look after the animals and that we would do the monitoring afterwards. These are new nest boxes. These have only been up for about since last May, so almost a year. And this is not their preferred habitat, but obviously they're doing really well out here. And we put these nest boxes out here in the hope that they would actually move into this area, and they have. So this is really good news. The reserve is doing really well, so they chose this reserve because basically it's being managed to best practice, and it's been successful. So it's 5 years on now, so we can say that this was a successful translocation, and we're now helping other groups that want to translocate to their reserves. We're helping other groups do that with the monitoring we've been doing on here. It's been really valuable. There are very few foxes here, and we've never had a cat recorded on any of our cameras, and we've never seen a cat here. But mainly brush-tailed possums are the big problem. So I have hundreds of photographs of the brush-tailed possums climbing onto the boxes and trying to get in, and they'll push their nose into the hole at the back. We took the original animals from the wild. They were from 4 nature reserves further north in the wheat belt, where there's a lot of Phascogales. So we caught 20 on the first one and 10 on the second one, and transported them down here and let them go. The other alternative is captive bred, and the Perths at the moment are breeding Phascogales to release up on the Mount Gibson Reserve further north. These have all been bred on the reserve, and they've used these nest boxes extensively, and I think they're a key to the success of this translocation. We've redesigned them so that they're more, Phascogale, red-tailed Phascogale friendly, and we also have techniques now for monitoring them that other people are going to be following, such as you've just seen me do that, put the wool in the box so they can't get out, and then put a net over the top and gently get them out of the boxes, and then release them back into the boxes. And just make it pretty obvious that it's, that you've done it and it's not a fight or something like that. So you can see that beautiful black fur underneath. That's pretty obvious that I've cut that. And then we know next time I come here that we've actually caught this one before. They're more savvy out in the bush if they're bred out in the wild. When they're captive bred, they're often not quite so predator aware, and they can get eaten by foxes and cats fairly readily. They're territorial, and the females will come back to the same nesting site year after year, and they'll probably have a 3 or 4 that they use, whereas if they're bred at the zoo, they're a long way. They're getting released a long way from where they were born and in totally unfamiliar surroundings. And I think one of the things about the success of this translocation was we put all the boxes up before we brought the animals down here, and they were actually released into the boxes right from day one. So they had that security of somewhere to go. If a predator was chasing them, they knew where the boxes were. So I think that's had a lot to do with the success of this translocation, as well as its really good habitat. And it probably hasn't had Phascogales on here for maybe 50 or 60 years. Yeah, so it's great, it's been really good to put them back here and that they're thriving.